Hello fellow Brick fanatics, DJ Bricks here, back for another video, and today I have a review for a 2022 LEGO Marvel Spider-Man set. It is the Venom buildable figure. It is set number 76230. It's recommended for ages 8 and up. It comes with 297 pieces, and I paid roughly $25 for it here in the United States. And without further ado, let's start deconstructing it and seeing how it stacks up. So, take a look at the main build, talk about the build process for a little bit here. It was pretty straightforward, kind of a little repetitive with, of course, this is a buildable action figure. You do have the limbs here, they do kind of differentiate left and right, but pretty much this thing is the same all the way through. Only really complex builds, like I would say, are in the torso build there and with the head. So we're going to start looking at this thing closer, starting with that head. So taking a look at the head here, it is using that newer piece that was introduced for these buildable figure lines. It's just printed with Venom's iconic look here. They did opt to have Venom here with his tongue sticking out. Very common look for the character, and it's very well represented. You do have the elephant old tusk piece with a cow horn there, both in red, just to accentuate that. Of course, because this is a buildable figure, every part is printed here, so that is a print. And then interestingly, remove the tongue here for a second, you do have the bottom jaw there is a printed piece as well, and it is this piece right here, it's printed on the side of it, so that kind of surprised me. That's pretty interesting part usage, but moving the head up a little bit, it does help create that nice angular look that the Venom has in the comics and various media. You can also see he kind of has a little bit of red there used to represent the inside of his mouth. Into the torso here, it's built pretty much similarly to the Iron Man one. It's just lacking the inner build for the light up feature that one has, although you can see he does have the iconic Venom'S spider symbol there on his chest. That's made up of like 4 printed pieces, and I'm going to bring this up now as opposed to the head. All the white parts that are printed against black here on my particular set, they're kind of washed out. They're not opaque enough to stand out. They're supposed to be the same white as the plastic there. It's not really coming across as on screen as that, but in person it's very noticeable. And that's the same for the 2 prints on the head as well. So little bad quality control on Lego's part there. You also do have the shoulders being reused of the head print. Moving on to the arms, up at the top you do have that faceplate piece for this line reused for the shoulder caps. You do have a very similar build to the other ones in this line for the arms with a hinge in the middle, but at the end you do have a newer build to capture Venom's iconic clawed fingers here. So you do have a little bit of the white represented on the back of the hand there, and you have 4 fingers here, each ending with one of the clawed barb pieces, making up the clawed fingers there. Going down to the legs, you do have nice thick thighs built up here. You do have the kneecap build that's pretty similar to the other ones, just kind of angled up a little bit for Venom, as well as you can see the side builds of those legs as well, kind of angled up. Unfortunately, you can see the gray and red pieces used for the joints here kind of showing through. That's kind of not that great of a look. And then moving down to the feet, he's kind of got the same build that the Miles Morales and Spider-Man ones of the same wave have, where it's kind of really thin and then it rounds out at the tip for the feet. And of course, flipping them around to the back, they did cover out the back here really nicely. Usually they leave a bunch of exposed studs, but you can see a repeat of all the printed ones from the front there, just reused on the back. And this does make the figure really broad in the chest area, which is pretty good for your Venom figure. So of course, with any buildable figure, we gotta talk about articulation. That is a key factor here. Taking a look at the articulation on the head here, you do get a nice ball joint at the base of the neck there, and it's very deep, so you do get a lot of up, can bury the chin. You get a lot of roundabout movement there as well. As showed earlier, you can move the jaw up and down, which is very nice, and you can rotate the tongue to be posed whichever way you want, and that can also freely move when you have the jaw open. Talking about articulation in the arm, you have nothing at the shoulder joint up here. It's just a little pad. It does rotate a little bit back and forth just because of how it's built, but the arm down here is at a ball joint, so it does get you out that far. Again, it just runs into the shoulder blade there, and doesn't move out of the way for posing. You can get it back that much, and you can get it forward that much. Again, that shoulder really hinders movement. You do have the single hinge here at the elbow, standard with these buildable figures, so that does get you a 90-degree bend at the elbow there. You do have a ball joint here at the wrist, so you do get a lot of movement here. A nice roll of the wrist, which is really good. And then each of the fingers here is individual, clipped on, and you can pose them however you want. Here at the torso, you do have a waist joint, so you can swing this back and forth, and it can go 360. And down at the legs here, you do have a ratchet joint at the hip, so whatever pose you put it at, it's going to stick. So this can go all the way forward and all the way back without any hindrance, and you can really splay the legs out. You do have a ball joint at the knee here, and the kneecap piece can get out of way of posing for that, so you can really bring it up, get a 90-degree bend at the knee. Down here at the foot, you do get a single joint at the ankle. That does get you a little bit forward, a lot more back, but you do get a lot of side to side here. So here's a crouching pose I was able to get him in. This is about as far as he can crouch down without getting all top heavy. Or I will note that his joints at the ankles are kind of loose, so they don't hold up that much weight. So it's kind of like a balancing act trying to get him into some of the poses, just because he's so top heavy with the bulk of the torso and the head build there. So you kind of have to finagle him a little bit just to get him into a pose like this. But it does work, and he does stay once you get him in there. Just don't breathe on him. But it is nice that you can get him into an iconic, intimidating pose like this. It's just, I wish he was able to crouch down a little bit further. That would be my only gripe. You get a small assortment of extra pieces with his set. Look at the instructions. You do have one small booklet here. It does use that newer style of cover with basics and then the vendor of the set. Inside of covers, of course, you do have the little blurb about them switching to paper bags slowly, as well as how to use the building app if you don't want to use the physical instruction. All minifigures in the set, so you just get a generic stud there representing the progress bar going along as you build. Again, this build is pretty straightforward, pretty easy to follow. And at the back, you do have 100 pages of building, as well as a cross-sell for the entire Spider-Man buildable figure wave that came out with this one. Then you have the parts inventory at the back, as well as the win with the pirates pointing at this time. Taking a look at the box, it's that typical size we see for these buildable figures. You do have the older style box here for 2022 with the Lego Spider-Man logo, Spidey logo in the corner. You do have the brick blocks with the comic book Lego paneling on it. You do have a nice shot of the figure. You do have the set specs, but also weirdly, they chose to label which character it is in the corner there for some reason. Top of the box, you have more of that comic book paneling, and you do have the face print printed part there, Venom's face, used for the actual size. Then back of the box, you just have another pose showing off Venom. So going into my final thoughts for the set, build was overall enjoyable. I do like the general design of this thing. I think the designers did a really good job at making this look like a buildable version of Venom, so kudos to them. However, this is a buildable action figure, so we gotta talk about articulation, and for the most part it's pretty good, although I wish we got more of a shoulder joint there. That is very much hindered by just the build there. It doesn't really allow you to get the arms up, and that's kind of a key part of a good action figure, is having that shoulder joint, and that's kind of missing here. You do kind of have it with down there, but you can't really move around that stationary part. And also, some of the joints are pretty weak, especially the ankle joints. They don't support the build here if you want to get them into some more dynamic poses, especially crouching ones, just due to the top heavy nature of the character and the build here. And also with these, I don't like the hinge joints at the elbows. Yes, they give you that 90-degree bend, but you kind of need a little bit more of to get some more poses, just to get the hands to move them where you want. So I would appreciate a little bit more articulation there as well. And we have a massive quality problem with this set, because all the printed parts here are white against black, and all of mine on this set are kind of pathetic. They're kind of washed out. You can barely tell they're supposed to be white. So there was definitely more opacity needed here. And $24 for the price here. That is right on par with me. If you go down the action figure aisle, typical Marvel Legends figure that this is aiming at the same demographic for. Those also currently are like $25 a piece. So I think $25 is the right price for this, given the market and the inflation and all that. So the set is going to get a 9 out of 10 for me. Yes, it does have its articulation issues, but overall I think this is a really nice attempt at a Venom buildable figure. that's my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring that bell. All that jazz helps the algorithm, helps the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Until next time, stack on.